a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Briefing. Peel yourself off the mat Monday after a fantastic, phenomenal sports weekend. You had action at 3:30 in the morning, both Friday night and, well, I guess it was Saturday morning and Sunday morning with the Australian Open winding up. And congratulations to Yannick Sinner. His first championship. Comes back from the grave, Lubie. Down 2 sets and comes back and beats Daniil Medvedev to win his first Grand Slam championship in 5 sets. And then, of course, Arina Sabalenka blew the young Japanese woman who is ranked number 12 in the world right off the court after that thrilling victory over Coco Gauff. And she wins a championship, her second Grand Slam, second straight Australian Open. So that was going on in the morning. And then, of course, everybody was wound up and waiting for the football action. Yesterday afternoon, it got underway at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then, of course, a doubleheader with San Francisco and the Detroit Lions turned out to be a couple of thriller and Manila-type games, both of a different variety. It really was a tale of two cities in this one, as the Kansas City Chiefs are heading back to the Super Bowl and the San Francisco 49ers prevailed. Now, I had this already here, Lubie. This egg, I was going to have to crack it over my head this morning because two basic rules of thumb. We always talk about this, Lubie. And by the way, how are you? You ended up, like me, 1-1 on the weekend. So you broke your string of playoff victories after having the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Baltimore Ravens. That was a surprise. But you know the adage that we should be going by. My grandmother's dying words, they rang resoundingly in my ears the entire time. Always take the points. And then we've had any number of handicappers appear on various shows, and they say never lay points, no matter what. If you think that the favorite is going to win, take them on the money line, but never lay points. Now, people are saying never bet against Patrick Mahomes, which seems to be something that is manifesting itself in truth. As the Kansas City Chiefs, very surprised to see the Chiefs defense dominate the way it did against Lamar Jackson. I think that was one of the shocking things in that ball game. He looked lost and dazed and confused at different times. This was a guy that was surefire MVP during the regular season and had that monster second half, was running the football extremely well, an explosive, dangerous commodity. And he was rendered to look no more fearful than Bubby Brister, as he didn't do anything in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Zay Flowers possibly undid the chances of the Ravens in that game. Fumble at the goal line, obviously 7 points off the board there and a big turnover. You did have Andy Reid go for a fourth down deep in Ravens territory, and that came up short. So each team left 7 points on the field, or at least three, but Flowers is going into the end zone. And this came after the dumbest of penalties that we've seen, maybe in playoff history, where he makes a phenomenal play, ends up bringing the ball down inside the 10-yard line. I believe it was going to be at the 5 or 6 yard line. And sure enough, a taunting call, which is about as stupid as you could possibly get. So the Ravens really did themselves in as much as Kansas City won that ball game. But credit to Travis Kelce, phenomenal ball game. Taylor Swift comes down, gives them a smooch on the field. That'll be the headline going into the Super Bowl. And the Kansas City Chiefs find their way into their fifth Super Bowl attempt?
Fourth in 5 years.
Fourth in 5 years, yeah, with Patrick Mahomes. So all of those people, those idiots in the bars that I run into that say, yeah, you know what, Mahomes is overrated, he sucks. I think you might need to rethink your position. And then the other game, my God, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, it was Motown all the way. They go 14-0 on the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers look flatter than a Parisian runway model, and that's why I brought the egg, because I had recommended, as you did, that the Ravens were the play easily. Should I crack it over my head? I don't have to now because of that bitter backdoor cover.
We got 1-1, yeah. 1-1.
Oh, my God. That's some way to get beat, huh? I mean, not only if you're a Lions backer, not only are you up 14-0 and 24-7 at halftime. Now you figured that San Francisco was going to bounce back a little bit. They did get the ball to start out the second half. Come down the field, they score 3 points. And that's where Dan Campbell, a lot of people are saying, I don't know what your position is on this, but don't get cute. I mean, did he not sabotage the chances of the Detroit Lions by opting 2 times in situations where he could have kicked field goals inside of 50? No guarantee they're going to go. But nonetheless, went for fourth down situations where it wasn't like 4th and inches or 4th and 1, where we have all kinds of different opportunities to call plays. It was 4th and 3. Now, one of those calls should have been successful. Sky Reynolds had a couple of key drops in the ball game, not only on the fourth down play, but then he had a surefire first down later on, and dropped the ball when he was going to be able to make a big play even after the catch. So two huge drops by Reynolds in that game certainly didn't help the chances of the Detroit Lions. But overall, what a discombobulation by the Lions in the second half of that game. That was a surprise. Yet I have to applaud them, Lubie, because we don't care about the end result, do we? We only care about what's going to happen in terms of wagering. And they did get that backdoor cover by driving for the late touchdown, and they accomplished that on a fourth down play, where you were thinking, all right, does he do the conservative thing here and go for the field goal and then with a minute left and 3 timeouts, kick the ball away? Or does he go ahead and try for the touchdown on fourth down, which they accomplished? To the applause, I mean, the wild applause of virtually everybody who had the Lions in the points. Imagine that. We had a friend who shall remain nameless, but wow, I felt his pain yesterday. Had a $100,000 wager, 110 to win 100, 110,000 to win 100 on the San Francisco 49ers laying 7. He had them at 7. The game went off 7 and a hook. And that's got to be the ugliest, most bitter of pills to swallow. The late backdoor cover, especially on a fourth down play. One play for $100,000. I guess if you have the money and you can afford to make that kind of wager, you certainly got your money's worth. Although, what an ugly defeat. Such ugliness to lose in that fashion. All right, what did you think? I mean, overall, Kansas City, San Francisco, that'll be the matchup in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. What were your impressions of the 2 games, Lubie?
The first game, it's not the counting out of Mahomes, because that's one thing I counted out the Bills.
Yeah.
And I thought the Chiefs would win that game. I counted out the Texans.
You're not as infatuated with Josh Allen as Chris Collinsworth is?
Yeah, no.
I mean, they literally had to pry his lips off a certain appendage of Josh Allen after the game.
No. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's as elite as they make him out to be. But yeah, look, as much as I thought the Ravens, the caveat was, look, it's hard to go against Mahomes. He is the best quarterback in the league still. Andy Reid is probably the best coach in the league right now.
Although I don't put Harbaugh that far behind him. I think John Harbaugh is a great coach.
That was my thing, was at least in that matchup, it's not like Harbaugh's already won a Super Bowl. Harbaugh's been to multiple conference championship games. Harbaugh has won a lot, won with different quarterbacks, won in different somewhat eras even, with this same franchise. And Mahomes is the MVP, right? And Mahomes was playing the best ball of his career. Lamar Jackson's the MVP. Lamar Jackson's playing the best ball of his career. So it was like, okay. And their team overall was just better than the Chiefs and playing better. Look, the Chiefs, this was the best defense that Mahomes had played with. But we hadn't seen them be dominant. Like, you were going to have to be dominant the way Lamar Jackson was playing. You were going to have to really shake him up, because he was being patient. He was being calm in the pocket. The problem is they weren't letting him run, and they were hitting him. It's not like a lot of the times, like we've seen with Lamar Jackson, is to not let him run. You can't really rush him, because then you over pursue and then he runs. So the Chiefs were able, it was actually very impressive, to keep their discipline and not give him the running lanes, and also close the pocket quickly. It was, and Spags was blitzing, but he wasn't blitzing that much. It was Chris Jones and Karlaftis were able to get after Lamar Jackson, and he looked lost. Like
they mixed it up pretty well, though, with the blitz. I mean, there was a period there where they were blitzing on every play, and then they backed off. So I thought Spagnuolo, did a brilliant job as a defensive coordinator, because I didn't think the Chiefs' defense, I know statistically they were good, but watching the Chiefs play, I didn't think they were that good. I thought Baltimore had the superior defensive unit, and far and away the best unit of any of the 4 teams that were left in the hunt was the Baltimore Ravens defense. And they did buckle up after giving up a couple of easy touchdowns early in the ball game. And the Chiefs knifed right through them like they were rolling through hot butter. But nonetheless, they ended up containing them and holding them to 17 points, which you can't necessarily point a finger at the defense. It was just surprising to see the Ravens limited to 10 points for the entire game.
Yep. It was just, it was surprising to me to see Lamar Jackson look like that. Look, he wasn't horrible, but he looked like the guy that if you don't let me run, I'm going to be lost. And he had
20 out of 37, Not exactly lighting
No, it's
up in
bad
terms
percentage. It's
of
55%.
completion percentage. 272 through the air, 54 rushing.
Took 4 sacks. Like, that's the one thing, he's so elusive. You don't sack him. 4 sacks, and he was pressured a lot more than that.
Yeah.
It was actually impressive to see what the Chiefs did. And look, to count them out, it would have been dumb. I didn't think they would. I didn't think they get routed. I just really thought the Ravens would win that game. And then the Niners-Lions game, look, Dan Campbell's confidence and bravado. I don't think. Look, I don't know what plays he's calling. To me, it feels like he's calling nothing because he's a fucking moron. But
you think that? I mean, as a motivational guy, obviously,
yes.
people are buying into that. We're going to bite your kneecap off. Seems to be well loved by his players. I mean, they're highly motivated by this guy, and I don't know. I mean, the 1 4th down conversion should have worked. So that was something that you can, if you're a coach, you can account. Now, it wasn't the easiest of catches for Reynolds on that 4th and 3, and everybody was thinking, tie the ball game up. What are you talking about? Early in the game too. I mean, earlier in that half, when they were starting to lose all the momentum and San Francisco was coming on, that they had a chance to kick a field goal to put themselves at
17.
Yeah, they could have responded to the San Francisco field goal, and I'm thinking, yeah, stay up 17. Yes. Go ahead and give it a shot. I mean, if the guy misses, he misses. But at least you're in there with a higher probability of converting that field goal. 50-yard field goals are not a big deal. Inside of 50, most guys are extremely accurate now. And if he had a little faith in his kicker, that's a different story. But I don't recall anybody saying that this kicker was going to look like Tyler Bass. So, yeah, I would have definitely gone ahead. The San Francisco 49ers opened up with a field goal on their second half drive after getting possession with the kickoff. Answer right back. All you have to do, it's like a basketball game where, if you can't get a stop, then come back and answer with a basket. And, you'll have teams that are obsessed with getting 3-point shots off when it would be much more appropriate just to go ahead and answer back with a couple of points. You're doing the math and working the clock. And I think that's where Dan Campbell really lost it. He wasn't really efficient at clock management, and those 2 gambles proved out to be fatal. So, and he had done it a few times in a game and was unable to convert. But all right, let's give a quick accounting here. We have 2 weeks to schlubber on about the Super Bowl game. And our usual policy is we ignore it pretty much from today through the rest of the week, and then kind of dive into it week before the game, because 2 weeks of babbling about the same themes seems to be a bit overwhelming. So what do you think? San Francisco installed as a 2.5-point favorite in this game, and the over-under, I believe, is 47 and a half. What do you think? San Francisco or Kansas City? Just off the top of your head.
I know we're not supposed to bet against Mahomes.
Yeah.
What's funny is, and Purdy was not good in the first half. A lot of it was Campbell.
His running, though, surprised the hell out of me. Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson's supposed to be the guy taking off. I thought Purdy, if you were going to rank him, what was the least impressive quarterback of the 4 that were in the hunt there. And yet he acquitted himself very well in the end, did he not?
He played really. No, what's funny is it was a tale of 2 halves. The first half, he was the guy who was like, oh, shoot, San Francisco may have to think about a quarterback, because that's now 2 games in a row where he's just sort of been an issue for them in the playoffs. And in the second half, he was their best player.
He carried
his runs were huge. He made a couple scrambles where the one where he ran, it looked like he was just trying to get rid of the ball and threw it to Juszczyk, who made a great catch and then got a first down.
Right, but that was a really dumb play, even though it worked. There was a lot of luck involved in that. I mean, when you're running to your left and you lob the ball into the middle of the field on a scramble.
No, I'm not talking about the middle of the field. I'm talking about the one where he threw it to the sideline when he had.
That was a great play.
It was wide open, and it still looked like he was going to throw it away. No, not the one where it was like 3rd or 4th down and he flung it up and Ayuk made a ridiculous catch. I'm talking about the one with Juszczyk where he toe tapped, and it was like
that was a great play.
Okay, Purdy's feeling it.
I mean, by all rights, he was dead man walking, as looked like he was going to go down right in the middle of the pile there, and he worms his way out of it. And he made some big plays under a lot of pressure for a guy that's as maligned as he is, as being a system player and disregarded in terms of being a star quarterback. This is interesting. So you have one guy that's got $50 million a year coming in, and the other guy is making like the league minimum, I think. In the matchup. Of course, you'd rather have Mahomes and Brock Purdy any day of the week and at any time. But Very interesting. San Francisco, 2.5-point favorite. So, what do you think? Do we adhere to my grandmother's dying words that we opened up the segment with? Always take the points.
Yeah.
Hard to go
I mean,
against
I could
Kansas
see
City
it.
in this spot.
I mean, I could see it. To me, it comes down to, look, read Shanahan. I go read all day. Shanahan always seems to screw around, but I'm hoping he's learned his lessons from the 2 Super Bowls. He was an offensive coordinator and head coach in, and it feels like the Niners have been knocking on the door, and it feels like the if they can play the way they played in the second half, that second half was the best we've seen them play in like 2 months. Their defense, it was like their defense has been sort of in a malaise.
Suspect,
and
yeah.
then Young and Bosa, their linebackers woke up and was just fucking ferocious. And the Lions were like, oh shit, this is the Niners. And it was like they had no answers for them in the second half. I mean, and the way Purdy played it, I thought they were the best team all year, right, with the Ravens, and it's hard for me to go against them when they look like that.
Yeah, we were trying to rate the game based on the music. I guess in the end, Taylor Swift is swept off her feet by her current Prince Charming, Travis Kelce, who all of a sudden has relocated his game. He had, I think 12 catches in the game against Buffalo and 11 catches in this game.
11 for 11 on this
game.
Yeah,
116 yards and a touchdown. He becomes, the all-time leader in postseason touchdowns, right? Exceeding Jerry Rice, which is quite an accomplishment since Rice was always going deep into the postseason. Kelce, obviously, big-time opportunities, going to 4 or 5 Super Bowls. But, yeah, I mean, and you know, there you have Taylor Swift and Kelce in a lip lock after the ball game, much to the joy and glee of all the media that were there. And then on the other side of things, you have Eminem giving the finger to the crowd as he walks out in disgrace with Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. All right, it was a lot of fun yesterday, a lot of fun being with you today, and we'll have a lot more on the Super Bowl and all the other things that are happening in the world of sports. Many interesting things transpiring as start to transition. It's going to be tough, huh? I mean, you wait all year for the football season, and now a couple of weeks.